The movie opens with two cars racing down a street. One forces a woman to stop. Masked men jump out with guns, smash her window, and try to drag her out. A well-dressed passerby intervenes, Karl Thomasson. As Randall confronts them, the woman bolts. A man shoots her in the leg, and Randall charges the shooter. The gang opens fire, killing him. They find a Special Forces badge in his pocket and flee. A store owner witnesses everything and calls the police. At Randall's funeral, his military service is honored. His daughter, Anya, attends with her teacher, Lavelle. Randall's brother, Karl, arrives, comforting Anya and meeting Kara. He tells Anya he plans to stay. On their walk home, Anya says the neighborhood is dangerous and her father always stood up to gangs. Tearfully, she admits Randall wanted Karl to visit, but he never did. Later, near the school, Karl sees boys harassing a woman. After she leaves, they confront him, boasting they run the area. Karl asks if they're threatening him. A police car passes, and they back off, but once it's gone, they open fire. Karl dodges as they speed away. Afterward, Karl meets his old friend Joey 6 in a quiet spot. Joey, once Shale's partner from the first substitute, now lives in New York. Karl asks for help finding his brother's killer and whether the gang was involved. Joey agrees immediately, even before Karl offers money. That night at a bar, they plan. Joey says the store owner who witnessed the murder refuses to talk, likely out of fear, but confirmed the shooter was a student from Lenthrop High and part of the Brotherhood, a gang that wears hoodies backward with cut-out eye holes. The owner swears they were high schoolers. Joey warns they need to move fast. The next day, Karl visits Kara and brings her a drink. She's happy to see him. When he asks who will replace Randall as a teacher, she explains the school is hiring a substitute for the most violent class. Karl says he's interested. Kara hesitates but tells him to get certified and promises to help. Meanwhile, Anya returns to school for the first time since her father's death and reunites with her best friend, Danny Bramson. At the same time, Karl arrives at the school looking for the registrar. He meets mechanic teacher Warren Drummond, who offers to help. On the way, Warren asks if Karl is the new sub for the notorious class. Danny passes by and thanks Warren, though the moment feels oddly tense. In the restricted section, Karl sees students who look more like gang members than classmates. After getting his pass, he gets lost until a janitor points him to the right room. Inside, chaos reigns. Students party, blast music, drink soda, dance, and flirt. Karl introduces himself, but they ignore him. One student, Dontae, tells them to turn down the music. The student complies but grumbles. Karl notices a kid drinking soda and jokes if he brought enough for everyone. The kid snaps back, making the class laugh. Karl pulls out a yo-yo, asking if they know what it is. He explains it was once a weapon in the Philippines 400 years ago, then smashes a soda bottle with it to prove the point. Karl asks what lesson they learned, then tells them not to judge by appearances, and if someone brings soda, they'd better share. The room falls silent as the students study him, already planning to test him. In the staff room, Karl meets other teachers, worn down and cynical. One jokes, asking how he's surviving hell. Karl replies the kids act tough, but he doubts they are. Another warns him Randall once thought the same and look what happened. Warren enters, interrupting. Though arrogant, he invites Karl for a walk. As they talk, Warren questions why Karl chose that class, hinting he should have picked calmer students, possibly trying to scare him off. Kara then appears, jokingly asking Warren to introduce her to the new teacher, pretending not to know Karl. Meanwhile, Anya runs into Danny, who pulls up in a Mustang. She admires the car and asks how he can afford it. Danny dodges and offers her a ride. She accepts. Across the street, Karl and Joey tail students they suspect are Brotherhood members, the ones behind Randall's murder. They follow them into an abandoned factory, where the gang is torturing the store owner who witnessed the crime. Strung up by his arms, the man is beaten as Karl and Joey watch in hiding. Gang leader Little B demands to know why the witness told people they killed the teacher, especially that they were students. Terrified, the man admits he called the police and begs for mercy. The gang answers with more blows. Karl sets up a device for backup as Joey steps in unarmed, warning them to release the witness. To make it clear, Karl shoots two members, one in the leg, one in the shoulder. Joey aims at Little B, threatening to shoot his chest next. Outmatched, Little B orders the man freed. Joey unties him and warns the gang to stay still until the red laser dots vanish or be shot. Frozen in fear, they obey as Joey exits confidently. At home, Anya and Danny kiss in her room. She pulls back when things go too far. Danny asks why, and she jokes it off. Karl suddenly arrives. Panicked, Anya urges Danny to sneak out. She greets Karl downstairs, while he casually jokes about the cool Mustang outside. That night, students from Karl's class plan a car robbery. Mase, the boy with the radio, breaks into a car while his friend cuts the alarm. They drive off casually, unaware Joey is watching from the shadows. Karl spends the evening with Kara over drinks. She asks about his past, and he reveals Randall was not only his brother, but also his partner. They were mercenaries. When she asks why he's teaching now, Karl says Randall inspired him to make a difference. Karl gets a call from Joey, who explains what happened. He set up a bait car that Dontae and Mase stole, then asks Karl to guess where it ended up. Karl agrees to meet him. Before leaving, he thanks Kara, though she clearly wishes he'd stay. When they meet, Joey shows Karl where the stolen car was taken. Karl wants to act, but Joey advises patience, saying tomorrow will matter more. He plays Karl a recording of the gang plotting to take him down. The next day, Karl arrives at school as if nothing is wrong. Keyshawn, the boy with a broken arm, pretends to feel sick and sneaks out to let gang members in. Inside, Mase blasts music on his radio, ignoring Karl. After several warnings, Karl makes a point. He tells the class if Mase keeps playing while he teaches, nobody wins, that's a deadlock, a situation with no solution. Then he hurls Mase's radio out the window. The room falls silent. Furious, Mase pulls a knife and shows off, but Karl quickly disarms him and takes the blade. He tells the class he isn't trying to embarrass anyone. He just wants them to understand he's in charge and here to help. Then he notices Keyshawn hasn't returned and decides to check it out. In the boys' bathroom, Karl calls out for Keyshawn and starts looking around. Suddenly, gang members ambush him, but Karl is ready. Using his combat skills, he takes them down one by one. Hearing the commotion, Keyshawn rushes back to class and brags that Karl is probably getting beaten up. The students laugh, though Mase stays silent, still thinking about Karl's earlier words. Meanwhile, Karl finishes the fight, pinning one gang member and demanding to know if he killed Randall. The boy refuses to answer. When it's over, Karl calmly adjusts his tie and slips his watch back on, just as the janitor walks in. The man introduces himself as Jonathan Bartee and praises Karl's skills, recognizing them as Green Beret tactics. He reveals he served in the 1st Battalion in 1971 and insists the attackers weren't real students, someone must have let them in. He also hints Karl is clearly more than a teacher. Bartee offers to handle things and tells Karl to get back to class, asking him to meet later in the basement. Karl returns as if nothing happened and finds Keyshawn basking in attention. When class ends, Karl asks Mase to stay. He brings up the broken radio, and Mase admits he stole it. Karl tells him he believes he can turn his life around. Mase snaps, asking how Karl could know anything about him. He reveals his father is in prison, his brother was killed in a drive-by, and he doesn't even know where his mother is. The gang, he says, is all he has. Karl listens quietly and tells him he still has the power to choose a different path. Upset, Mase hands back the yo-yo Karl gave him and storms out. Later, Keyshawn and his friends return to the bathroom to see the aftermath of the fight, but the place is spotless. Keyshawn insists Karl fought the gang, though no one believes him. That evening, Karl meets Bartee in the basement. Bartee shows him where he lives and displays items from his military service. Karl is impressed by his dedication and respect for the past. During their talk, Karl admits he's searching for his brother Randall's killer. They share a soda as Bartee mentions hearing strange noises at night, people moving when they shouldn't be, but whenever he checks, no one's there. Later, Anya is stopped on her way home by Brotherhood members. They threaten her, warning she must stop Karl from digging into their business, then tell her to forget the encounter. Shaken, she confides in Karl that night, confused how they know she's connected to him. Karl tells her to stay home for a few days. She dislikes the idea, but reluctantly agrees. That night, Karl, Joey, and Bartee meet at the school to investigate the noises. Bartee leads them through a secret passage to the garage. Karl goes ahead and spots Warren with students working on cars. It's clear they're running an illegal chop shop. Karl returns and reports Warren is breaking down 3 or 4 cars a week, selling parts below market value, likely making over $100,000 a month. Meanwhile, Warren gets a call from Dontae, who says the police found one of their stolen cars after a chase and Mase was killed. Warren shows no concern for his death. The next morning, Karl gathers the students and sees most grieving except Dontae. Dontae coldly says Mase took a risk and paid the price. Karl argues school isn't a battlefield and no student should have to die. Dontae snaps back that the real world is a battlefield. People like him fight for everything because nothing is ever given. He insists the police killed Mase, not him. After school, Karl asks Kara what Warren is really like. Kara explains Warren is well liked at school, but outside he's cold and controlling. She admits he once tried to date her, but she refused because of his possessive nature. The next day during break, Karl quietly asks Kara to dig into Warren's background and work history. As they talk, Warren watches from a distance, his expression suspicious. Later at home, Karl is with Joey when Kara calls. She says she found something and asks Karl to come over. He agrees, telling her he and Joey are on their way. At Kara's house, someone knocks before Karl arrives. When she opens the door, it's Warren holding food, claiming he was just in the neighborhood. Uneasy, Kara hides the file she meant for Karl. Warren lingers, pretending to be friendly, and slyly comments about the competition between him and Karl, pressing her for details. Meanwhile, Anya sneaks out to visit Danny. He welcomes her into his room and tries to get close, but she wants to take things slow. When he steps into the bathroom, Anya looks around, puts the condoms back in the drawer, and finds her father's badge hidden inside. Panicked, she searches further and discovers a Brotherhood gang outfit in his closet. When Danny returns, Anya confronts him, demanding to know if he killed her father. Danny claims Randall was interfering with the Brotherhood's money. The argument escalates, and Danny grabs a knife. But Anya, trained by her father, fights back, kicking him hard and smashing a glass over his head. At the same time, Warren shows his true nature at Kara's house. He attacks her, throwing her across the room and accusing her of working against him. He beats her, demanding to know what Karl is up to. Under pressure, Kara reveals Karl is Randall's brother. Warren strikes her repeatedly, then shoots her dead. Afterward, Warren orders his men to kill Karl and ignore all other instructions. As he leaves, he spots Karl and Joey arriving, but hides in the shadows until they pass. Inside, Karl is devastated to find Kara's body. He also discovers the file she meant to give him, revealing Warren's past, a former Marine, dishonorably discharged under special circumstances, suspected of running illegal missions in Honduras in 1986. At home, Anya tearfully tells Karl what she discovered. Danny set her up and admitted he killed Randall, claiming he did it to prove his worth to Warren. That night, Karl arms himself, determined to end it. Joey picks him up, and they drive to the high school. Joey warns he counted 2 carloads of gang members and asks if Karl is ready. Soon after, the gang arrives, heavily armed and intent on killing the substitute. Karl and Joey meet Bartee, who opens the gate, but the gang is already close. A gunfight erupts, turning the school into a war zone. Gang members drop quickly, while Karl, Joey, and Bartee stay alive. They retreat into another room, but Joey reveals he's been shot, and it feels like they're trapped. Karl spots a gas tank and sets a trap. When the gang opens fire, he triggers an explosion that blasts them back down the hall. The 3 escape through a tunnel Bartee knows, leading to a hidden room stocked with old weapons. They reload and brace for another wave. The battle continues, the gang losing men fast. Exhausted, Bartee tosses smoke bombs, filling the halls with haze. Through the smoke, Little B appears. In the chaos, Karl seizes him while Joey and Bartee hold the others back. Confused, the gang accidentally shoots their own leader. In a separate room, Karl confronts the dying boss, who confesses Warren Drummond, the mechanic teacher, is behind everything. Without hesitation, Karl storms into Warren's classroom. In front of the students, he accuses Warren of killing Kara and says her final note exposes him. Warren, rattled and nervous, denies it. Instead of confessing, he exposes Karl's past as a mercenary to the students. He then reaches for a gun hidden in his suitcase, but Karl stops him before he can fire. A brutal fight erupts. Both men are skilled and ruthless. Warren grabs a fire emitter, but Karl knocks it away and kicks him in the face. Warren counters until Karl burns his eye with a light bulb, blinding him. The students watch in shock, unsure who to side with. Warren refuses to quit, and the fight rages on. Karl slams him to the floor repeatedly. Upstairs, Anya sees the struggle and rushes down to help her uncle. The brawl grows bloodier. Warren stabs Karl in the arm with a screwdriver, but Karl, though in pain, fights back harder. The students think he's finished, but Karl rises again. Finally, Karl drives the screwdriver into Warren's stomach, ending him. Anya and Joey gather around Karl, thanking him. Bartee claps and tells the stunned students to return to class. The show is over. As the crowd disperses, Dontae shows rare kindness, telling Karl he looks like he needs a doctor and a vacation. In the end, peace returns. Karl thanks Joey for standing by him. Later, he and Anya visit Randall's grave, laying flowers and his badge. They share a heartfelt hug as the movie closes. If you enjoyed this video, don't be shy to hit the like button, and if you disliked it, hit the dislike button twice, just to be sure. It would be best if you watched the whole movie. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe for more videos like this.